told you, man, we took flight, ain't no coming down.
Yeah.
Let's get money. Yeah. Y'all better be ready, man.
Major Key Podcast, Season 3, Episode 13.
Yes.
With Lisa Thomas L. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We're here. And thanks for coming on by, being a part of this episode tonight. We're going to dig in. We're going to get your story. And, we're pretty much going to let the public know what you do.
PMG LLC. Get it. Yeah.
First of all, how was your week?
Fantastic. Amazing.
Yes?
Amazing, yes.
What sticks out for this week for you?
I had just yesterday, I had guests over. It might not seem like a big deal to anybody else, but for me, this is the first time outside of family that I had people over.
Okay. Over the house?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Because I'm building my community
Right.
for like-minded individuals who is excelling in life.
Okay.
So, it's nice to have your followings, your social media followings. Mm-hmm. It's nice to have all that, but who is in your immediate backyard?
Yes.
Yes.
And was it family? Was it friends, or a little bit of both?
It was a little bit of both.
Okay. And what was the goal? What was the goal of having everybody together? What did you guys, if you don't want, without getting too invasive,
No. You asked me what was the thing that stuck out for me. It was just community. Building community, building connections. Sometimes we just went through this pandemic. There's so many things going on. Yeah. You just need hope. Right. Like people are sometimes losing hope and feeling like, wow, there's a recession coming. This is happening. Listen, you've been through a recession in your life. Just because the government claims one, don't mean you've never been through one. So now, what can I do? So you can overcome all of this. You can excel beyond this.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's what it's about, man. Community is everything. It takes It takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
And we tend to lose that within within generations, I would say.
Yes.
Throughout generations, we tend to lose that if we don't teach our kids or, pretty much give them the example of something like you just did, that, setting up, bringing family together to set the example and to pretty much give them what they, was there any kids there too?
No.
Or it's just adults?
Just
adults. Nice. So yeah, like a
grown
meeting.
folks, yes.
Wow.
Yes. Grown folks. It was just some grown folks. And it was really great. It was great to, first of all, open my home up to allow others to come in and share in my space, but also to connect with individuals, like-minded individuals, and having conversations that ordinarily, you might not have with people. Sometimes, people don't feel really comfortable sharing their dreams with somebody else because there's naysayers or there's people that have tried something themselves and said, well, that doesn't work.
Right.
So it was a couple of people that just was able to take an idea and propel it forward.
Right. Like
it went from, oh yeah, this is what I want to do, to this, and this is also what you could do.
Right.
And we can come together and do. I'm like, what? Yeah. Mind blowing.
Listen, man, when you put minds together, especially great minds, they think alike.
Absolutely.
When you put them together, you come up with different plans and you orchestrate a better plan for the future. Absolutely. So shouts to everybody tuning in on Facebook Live, everybody that's listening on the topclassradio.com and the Top Class Radio app. Much appreciated. Share the live. And also everybody on YouTube. Official, man. We appreciate every single body out there that, that pretty much supports everything that we do. This is Season 3, Episode 13 with Lisa Thomas L. Speaking of building a community and doing things like that, one of the things you do, is a therapist. You're a licensed therapist?
Yes, I am.
Okay. How's that? How's that venture been?
Oh, my goodness. It's been amazing.
Yeah?
It's amazing. First of all, I love the mind of people.
Okay.
I love to, learn why do people do what they do,
right?
And initially it started out because of my own addiction, and me wanting to help others. Right. But what I learned as I was being in the field is that it's not just what's worked for you, but finding what's best for them.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Being
diversified. Because sometimes we get stuck in this is the way and this is the only way. And so if you're not doing it that way, you're not going to be successful.
Right.
So being diversified was one of the key elements. So that intrigued me even more to get more education. And then, like, now I don't have to go the traditional route. Like, I do my continuing education. I do that over and beyond. But it's not just that I love to learn. Yeah. That thing gets me excited. That thing fuels me. Like, to get
a different species.
It's a whole different species. Yeah. To offer somebody a different perspective, because you can think, like, life is hard. Well, it's as hard as we make it.
Right. Wow. That's a great perspective. And your energy is all that. You start off. Give it to the people. How do you start your lives, and how do you start, just coming on camera?
So it's Great Gratitude Friday, and every day it's a great day to find something to be grateful for. So it just started out like I didn't know what to say. I got on a podcast. I got on, doing some lives, and I didn't really know what to say. Yeah. And that just came naturally, just saying Great Gratitude Monday, and then it was Tuesday, and it was Wednesday, and with Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So every day, so it became a niche. And then one time I met up with my brother, and he lives in North Carolina, one of my brothers. And he was like, Great Gratitude on Friday. And I was like, oh, it's catchy.
Yeah.
It's catchy. So I stick with that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their niche. Everybody has their little thing. I got the I do that. So whatever works for you. And look, we were talking off air before the show started. You could be helping somebody. Well, I know you are. But you never know who's going through anything, and just you saying those words, they're like, you change the perspective. You change the narrative. And you change the mindset of any situation. And like, you know what? It is a day to be grateful for, It's just gratitude, So that's I really, really like that.
Yes. It's fun. I love when people, I know a friend of mine, sometimes she'll say, I seen that mouth open and I knew it was too much. I wasn't going to click it on yet because I knew your energy. But I love it. It's, there was a time in life that, I was told, like, Lisa, you're too much. Like, the energy that I would come in the office with or something. It was like,
no way.
Take it down. And I did.
Wow, what happened? Because you know what? I've gotten that. I want to hear you. I want to see what you did with it and what happened to you doing your venture, because I've gotten told the same exact thing.
You too much. Especially early in the morning.
Early in the
people like,
turn it down. I haven't had my coffee yet.
I ain't even
like, what? So what did you do?
I'm not
with
even
that?
woke yet. Like, you serious? So I dialed it down.
You did?
I did. I dialed it down, and then guess what? I made myself miserable.
Yes.
I started getting headaches and grouchy and all, and I'm like, wait a minute, this ain't me. And so many other times in my life that I tried to dial down myself in order to make somebody else comfortable, it hurts me. And ultimately, it hurts others.
Yes.
You not being who you are, you cut the energy. Like the first time I met you, it was an energy about you. Yeah. It was like in your mannerism, everything. I was like, okay. And then we talked. We did text one time, and it was like, okay, yes, I'll come.
Yeah.
Like
Thank
that
you, by the
energy.
Way. Yeah.
That energy. So just imagine if you took it down and said, "Oh, okay, all right." They're like, "Okay, who is this guy?"
Yeah.
That thing sets you apart.
Yes.
Not everybody can do that. This is a natural thing that just comes out of me naturally.
Right.
It's nothing that I make up. Do I have bad days? Absolutely.
Right.
But I've learned that I can even change that.
Yes.
Because sometimes it may be warranted that I need to be still.
Yes.
I need to sit still.
When to chill, right?
Yeah. It's like, you know what? This is not a movement day. That's fine. I'm not going to move. This is not a day that you want to be all Great Gratitude Friday. Well, I'm not going to go live, right? But I always come back stronger and even better.
Right. So, in a nutshell, you toning it down, it messed up your energy, it messed up who you were, and it also, did you have anybody question you? Did you have anybody like, oh, what's wrong? You okay?
You know what? It's so normal when you're not okay.
Yeah.
People find that more comforting than the energy.
Wow.
Because when you're walking around, like I could be walking down the street like, hello. And people say, I'm not going to be speaking to people. They ain't going to speak to me. Yeah. I'm not speaking to them for them to speak to me.
Yes.
I'm speaking to them because I just want to give the energy.
Yes.
That smile can change their life. That smile or that hello might change my life.
Yes.
Because you never know what I'm doing, what's going on inside of me.
Yeah.
So it just, Like, I lost my mother 2 years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
You know, and I'm going to tell you something. Me and a friend of mine, we talked about it and like, and losing our parents. And there's so many people, like, people love you. And people they have great intentions. But so many people who have lost their parents was like, you know, you're really going to go through a lot. You're going to go through something. And so I was like, wow. Like, for the rest of my life, that's what's going to happen. And so I said, I want to celebrate my mother. I know my mother would be like, girl, be using me as an excuse to be all sad.
She was like that. She had great energy.
Yes. Yeah. She would be like, oh, don't be using me as an excuse. So I know I use her as a bridge and as a constant reminder. Right. Like, she was a phenomenal woman. Yeah. And so I can celebrate her legacy instead of mourning her death.
Wow. You hear that out there? Say that again to the people. Come on.
You can celebrate people's lives and their legacy instead of just mourning their death.
Wow.
The last day.
That's beautiful. Speaking of which, right before the show started as well, we were speaking upon that, you know, and let's get into how you got into the, writing books and things like that. You touched on it briefly, and you mentioned your mom. Yes. So since we're speaking about your mom, let's dip into that.
Okay. So me and my mother used to always talk about that we made a soul agreement before coming here. Mm-hmm. Like, people that say, you know, my children ain't asked to be here. Well, I kind of beg to differ. Mm-hmm. Their souls did.
Right.
And so we used to say we came into this world and had an agreement as mother and daughter, right? And we went through a whole lot of stuff, right? Mm. I was a teenager, and it was a whole lot of stuff that you go through. So, but at some point, like me going into being a therapist, my mother did it. She was a probation officer. She was a therapist. And so we shared a lot of stories and had a lot of discussions. Right. And so we said, one day we was talking, and she was like, you know, I see why we went through so many turbulent situations, because it was to help others. Mm. And like she said, we're going to do some things together. And so I was like, okay, let's do this. We talked about writing a book. We talked about doing workshops together. We talked and we spoke together one time. So we talked about a lot of stuff. And one day she said, I have this opportunity to write in this book.
Okay.
All right. Somebody had called her and was like, yo, you would be perfect for this book. And she said, okay, I'll do it. And then at some point, one of the authors didn't show. And so she said, well, what about my daughter?
Okay.
And she said she has a great story. So she recommended me for the book, to be one of the co-authors in this book. Wow. And it's called Destined to Win. And unfortunately, there wasn't no space for it. They didn't have enough space.
Okay.
And so she said, well, maybe on the next one, we'll add your daughter, you and your daughter. And unfortunately, my mother found out she had stage 4 cancer, and she wasn't able to even really promote her book as much. So unfortunately, she passed away. And one of the things that they contacted me, one of the visionary authors contacted me and said, Lisa, in honor of your mother, would you be willing to co-author in the book? I said, well, I guess I'll have to, celebrate her living instead of her death, because if I say no,
she's going to get on you.
Her spirit will be like, oh, you really going to use me as an excuse?
Yeah.
So that's how I celebrate her. And then and that ended up me doing 3 compilations.
Wow. Now, let me ask you this. Were they, because this happened, obviously, your mom, she didn't have much time to live within the time that were they looking at you before her passing for the book? Or?
Yes.
Okay, so you were already in the mix.
I was already in the mix.
Okay,
and
good.
Together. And this is the beautiful thing about it, right? We still did it together.
Okay, yeah. Her spirit.
Her spirit. I called upon her spirit.
I like that you're into that. You know about that.
I called upon her spirit. I called upon my ancestor's spirit for us to write this book. Literally, the deadline, I'm going to just say, that was January the 2nd. I did it. I wrote the chapter in one day.
Wow.
Yes.
Woo. So did you ever write anything before this? Were you an author before this?
No. I've always said I wanted to write a book.
So this is your first, all right, so that situation, take me back a little bit to that time. Before that, you don't have a degree in journalism. You don't have anything. You didn't go to school for writing?
I have a master's degree in human services.
Okay.
However, that's when I wrote.
Wow.
I wrote in
so
school.
It just came out then.
But you know something?
You wrote in school for essays and things like that?
Yeah, I did that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing, when I think back, I always wrote because I journaled.
Yeah, okay.
You know, growing up, that was my outlet. That, as a matter of fact, growing up, my writing was like my conversation with God.
Wow.
I could start off upset and mad about something, but the answers came through my writing.
That's powerful.
So, yeah.
We have that similarity. That's powerful. And nobody needs to know. No. You do it yourself, and the things you write, nobody will ever know about. Wow. So
and that's a whole different part of me that this writing, like, you think you know yourself. You think you know yourself until you step out and do something else and find out something else about yourself.
Yes.
So writing, there's a whole different part of me that's expressed. Wow. It's nothing that I make up. Matter of fact, I was so excited. It was funny.
Get it out. Let's go.
Somebody should have videotaped the process, right? Because it was so funny as I'm writing, I'm typing, I'm like, oh, this is what we doing. This is how we doing it. Like, even the writing, I was like, oh my God. Nothing was planned.
Wow.
Nothing was planned. I didn't have this like, oh, let me do the outline, because I didn't have time. I didn't have time for that. Right? You need to get it done and get it over with. And the night before, I remember I prayed and I said, listen, to all my ancestors, I said, I need you. Y'all got to come through, and this would be a great time. So when I get up in the morning, you need to come through, right? And come through. Yeah. And I cried. And I gave I was grateful. The next day, they came through.
Wow. That's dope, man. And to everybody out there that hasn't done anything before, there's always a starting point.
That's right.
And although I believe writing gets you smarter too. It's just like reading. You learn how to, articulate and learn how to put words together. Yes. But you didn't write a compilation. You didn't write chapters. You didn't write anything like that before. But you had a moment in your life where you was like, you know what? Let me start now. I need to do this now, and you were able to do it. So I want to give you your flowers on that today.
Thank you.
And I didn't know that story.
Yes.
This is organic. We didn't talk
right.
about that before the show started. So that it seems hard to do. But it's that much easier when you put your mind to it and you talk to God and you have a plan right then and there. You got to orchestrate a plan. So,
and I'm gonna tell you the biggest plan: just sit down.
Yes.
Sit down and start writing. Sit down and start writing. They have so much technology, like Otter. Sometimes there's an Otter app that you can download, and you have this idea that comes across. You could speak it; it transcribes for you. Like it can't get that. It can't get no simpler.
Right.
Like just. The hardest part is the doing. You start thinking, am I going to be expressive? What's the words I'm going to use and all that stuff? It will flow out of you when you allow it to.
Right. Yeah, man. All right, let's get into the book. Let's talk about the book, and let's talk about your chapter that you have in the book. First of all, what's the name of the book?
It is called Destined to Win.
Okay.
It crushed me, but I survived. This is the most recent one.
Okay. Oh, so there's a series.
There's a series.
Okay.
So this is volume 5.
Okay. And you've been on every volume? I'm sorry.
I've been on 3 out of 5.
Okay. What was the first one? The name of the first volume that you were on?
The first one was called Inner Monologue. The chapter, it was still Destined to Win.
Okay.
But my chapter was Inner Monologue.
Okay.
The second book, it was still Destined to Win. It was called I See You.
Okay.
And then this one is called Looking for Validation in All the Wrong Places.
Okay, so break down your chapter within the book and pretty much what it was about and how'd you come about writing your chapter. So, all right, so before that, it's a whole book, a collective of a lot of authors, right?
Yes, correct.
And you have your own specific chapter.
Absolutely.
Okay, I just wanted to make that clear for the public. Break us down through that chapter.
So they give us a title. So it crushed me, but I survived it.
Okay.
So what came to my heart was looking for validation in all the wrong places. And what does that mean? And actually, I tested that title out I did a speaking engagement one day with a Hispanic audience, which was very exciting, right?
Shouts to my Latinos.
Yes, it was excellent. And I presented it, and that was the topic, looking for validation in all the wrong places. They loved it. Wow. And it brought about so much conversation around that. So what I learned even from that was that just because culturally You may look a little different, might even sound a little different, but internally, we're all one and the same.
Yeah,
we're one and the same.
Sure.
So looking for validation was me taking a look at how I thought having a degree, being a supervisor, like different titles would validate me as a person.
Wow. Being
a mother.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'll be a mother and I'll get more love. Not understanding that love was already in me.
Wow.
You know, so looking for validation and me looking for validation from others, I found me. And when you can like satisfy you and say, wow, you're dope.
You're amazing.
You're freaking amazing. You're amazing. Like looking in the mirror and not out of vanity or anything. It's like celebration and honor of yourself. It's one thing when you can look in the mirror and not look so much for your flaws, but the beauty that already resides within you. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's self-reflection.
Yes.
Self-reflecting. A lot of us don't do that enough. Yes. You know, and if we do, it's like what you said. We're looking at the wrong things. We're looking at ourselves like, oh, I don't like my nose. I don't like my hair. I don't like, certain things. I said two things about me. My nose is big and I don't have any hair, right? But I learned to embrace it.
That's right.
I love my baldness. Right. I love the width of my nose. Yes. That's the African American side of me.
That's right.
But I want to say that that's a real good thing to do, and you're the only one that had that chapter like that, right, about self-reflection. Right. Now you are pretty much coming into that, writing that chapter. Break down a little bit. Was it the reflection of? Did you see it as something bad, or were you telling people to not look at the bad of reflecting of yourself, or were you giving the message of to look at the good in you while you reflect?
Yes, it was about
validation. I mean validation. Right.
It was about I was able to reflect back on some of my patterns of behaviors, like how I thought, and I remember clearly thinking, like part of it was. I wanted to be an example and a role model to my kids. So, because I was a high school dropout at one point. So I wanted to be an example. I went back to school. I went back and got my high school diploma.
Wow. Because
my oldest son, was in high school. And I was like, I don't ever want him to use me as an excuse to drop out.
So you went and got it when he was still in high school?
He was still in high school.
Wow. Continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So it was, and then later I wanted to be an example and to show that you can go to college. And so it was always a motive. It was always something like I wanted to be this example so that I could be this positive role model. And I did. Yeah. And I did. But I also thought that people would be more accepting because I had a history of drug addiction. So I'm like, okay, but I'm not that. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you ain't nothing but a dope fiend or a crackhead and all that stuff," and we do humanize people because of their behaviors.
Yes,
and we say that's who they are.
Yeah, that's a shame.
However, it's under. I always knew it was more. It was deeper. And that's what made me really intrigued about being a therapist because I knew it was something deeper. That you're not the drug. That it's you're that's just a reflection of you trying to distract from what's internally disrupted.
Wow. And you could come up out of that.
Yes.
A lot of people get stuck and stagnant or they judge. We don't need to judge anybody. My message of the day the other day on my morning show was about judging people. When you judge people, you put them in a category, put them in a box, and you never know. People might not come out of that because of that. You could either help them or you could hurt them, And you're right. A drug or some type of substance is you masking and trying to flush your pain away, but it's gonna be there. It's gonna be there. And kudos to you. You were able to come up out of that and be an example to a lot of people that still are in that life. And then you turn into helping people when it comes to that. The second book, the chapter in that book, what was that about?
I See You.
Okay.
So this was me acknowledging me, all parts of me that I didn't want to see. This was me. This was an anthem to saying, "I see you. I see that little girl that was looking for validation or looking for love and connection from others that weren't able to give it to you. I see that teenage part of you who, people discounted because they saw the behaviors, but they didn't know what was going in at the core of me. Like, I see you. So this was me honoring me and saying, I see you.
Right.
And so many others, we're looking for people to say, I see you. But when you're able to say, I see you.
Right.
I see the parts of you that I neglected.
To yourself.
Yes. I see
That's
the
the key
parts
right
of
there.
you who gave you, who looked for a validation or looked for security outside of you. I see that part of you.
Wow.
And I want to honor you.
And what did you do with that? After seeing it, what did you do with that? Because that would be, a huge part. I don't know if you put that in your book, but as far as, personally, after you seen what you seen, what did you do with that?
Well, first of all, I honored it.
Okay.
I validated it for me. And then, I'm more conscious of what I'm doing for me. Just like I said earlier about having, friends over. To some people, that's not really a big deal. Mm-hmm. But to me, it was like I was opening up my space and opening up my heart to receive. And so looking for and being able to celebrate yourself, because sometimes you get so excited. I don't know about you, but I can imagine you too. You'll be so excited and so pumped up. You got all this energy and you want to share it with people, and people are like, "What?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Why?
Yeah, all right. Well, ain't no big deal." And you're like, so I recognize you have to celebrate you first. Forget about everybody else and let me take a moment to take this all in. Yeah. And honor and celebrate me. And that's part of my I see you.
Wow.
That part of me that sometimes question myself and Lisa, what are you doing? Like, really? Who do you think you are? Like, who do I think I am? Who do I think I'm not? Like, that becomes the question.
Yeah.
Who I think I'm not.
And when did that book come out? When did that? How much time in between? I would say.
So about a year.
Okay.
A year of each one.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And who's the publisher of these books? Who came together to put this?
Actually, I believe they're in North Carolina. It's called Shiro Publishing.
Okay.
They have a few books. They have a whole line of books.
And they came up with this idea to have, how many authors you have on there?
There
13 maybe?
I think it was 13, 14 of them. Yep.
Okay.
So everybody have their own story that they're sharing.
Right.
And I've always, we're still sitting here having this conversation, this flooding, bringing back things, but I've always wanted to write something.
Okay.
And I have. I was starting to write things, even when I was younger and everything. But I always was vigilant that I didn't want to share a story to make me a victim.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be like, oh, this is what happened to me and this is what somebody did to me. Yeah. This and all that stuff. Because yes, stuff happened.
Yeah.
However, I wanted to be triumph over it. You said earlier about how people can, not celebrate you or or try to hurt your feelings or whatever they try to do. For me, I use that as fuel. Oh, so you don't think I could do it? Oh, thank you. All this stuff about, we kind of jump on these little hashtags or these things I got haters and all that stuff. Why? Why they gotta hate you? Yeah. Sometimes people, they're so doubtful in their own selves. It's not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of them.
It's them. Yeah.
Right. So when I take inventory and say, wow, maybe me doing this can be a role model to them. Yeah. They're you too. Yeah. It's nothing special about me. It's nothing special about you. Yeah. But we are special.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We wake up with a smile.
Yes.
I roll out of bed like this. I had DJ Abel. I don't know if you know Sean Wright. He's from this area. He's a DJ. And he was on, I was live. I was doing my morning show. Mm-hmm. He was like, bro, let me know what you take to be. And he said, also, you got to get up real early to have this type of energy. You ease your way in. Some people, I told him, bro, I wake up like this. I get out of bed, I'm like this at 5, 6 in the morning. I used to get up around 5 to pray. Yeah. And then after that, I'm up. And I'm like this for the rest of the day. I don't take it down till 12 o'clock in the morning. You know, I only get a couple hours of sleep, so I'm with you on that.
That's only 4 hours sleep.
Yeah, I usually only need 4 to 5 hours of sleep. After that, I'm recharged. Yeah. I'm back at it.
And this was funny to me when people say, "What do you take?" or like, "What is there to take?" Like,
right.
Like, how many people you know that even doing drugs? Like, what is
that are like this?
That's like that. Like,
I don't think there's a drug for this.
Yeah, I don't.
The movie Limitless, right? Remember that pill?
Yeah,
that's about. But we don't have that out.
Yeah,
there. If we had that, man, we'd be somewhere else right now.
Listen, and then like, how about this? Breath, breathing.
That's it right there. You. That's it.
Like, we do shallow breaths, but just taking mere breaths, consciously don't.
Because every breath is a blessing. Yes. To me, every single breath I take, every heartbeat is a blessing. Absolutely. It could stop working like yesterday. You know, so
I've watched some people transition over. And like that last breath, that
changes you.
You can't just shake them and say, "Come on, breathe again."
Yeah. Wow.
That last one, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That is powerful. That last breath is it. That's it. Woo! All right, now speaking of the last, let's come into the last book with the latest book, not the last. There's more coming. There's more coming. The latest book that you've been a part of, and you wrote what chapter? What's the name of that chapter?
Looking for validation in all the wrong places.
Walk us through that. Whoever hasn't had the book yet, walk us through that one.
Okay. And I think we talked about a little bit about the looking for validation, because that was looking for acceptance outside of yourself. But the one my first one that I wrote was Inner Monologue. Okay. And Inner Monologue is the conversations that we have about ourselves, with ourselves, in response to experiences that you've had. So it was just taking a look at, wow, I didn't think I was worthy because of the violation that someone else did. I didn't think that, people saw me because they were unable to even see themselves. You know what I'm saying? So it was going deeper into, like, that's the one thing that I find we all have in common. I don't care what religious background you have, what male, gender, economic, this thing right here. Science say that we think 70,000 thoughts per day. Per day.
Some maybe more.
Yes. Universally 70,000 thoughts per day. Wow. How many of those thoughts are empowering you? And how many of those thoughts keep you locked in to the prison within yourself? Wow. So when you become intentional, you become intentional, you start saying, wow. You start disputing. I like to call it my committee. Okay. Yeah, I used to call it my committee. I'd say, my committee came up with all this stuff. Now I said, listen, I'm adjourning this meeting. This is not what we doing. This is not how we doing it.
And you're speaking to yourself while you do it. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's a neat way to think about it, about committee. Like, if you think you have a whole board in your brain and everybody's sitting there, you're at the middle of that meeting, like, this is what we're going to do. That's right. Wow.
This is how it's going. This is how it's happening. You look at all this. Look at all your computer software and everything. And I'm always, the kids that I work with, they're like, here she go with the computer. But I use that as something that's relatable. You have the latest software. Yeah. I would say, right? Yeah. People have the latest iPhones. Right. Sometimes even the latest Samsungs. Whatever is your pleasure. Right. But who has the first computer that came out? Who's using Apple One right now? Wow. We'll jump on the newest thing because it's better. I was looking at how with the newest Apple phone, the 14. Please somebody tell me, what is the new feature? All I hear is it's coming out or it's out, but they're not even saying what the new feature is. But people are going to buy. It's going to sell out. Yes. Before it's on the market because it's the newest thing. But why do we hold on to old beliefs that no longer sustains us? Wow. Talking about, this is what I was told back in 19. Like, back in my day, this is how it was. We don't even want to evolve into changing. Like, what was then is not now. Yes. So how do I upgrade myself? Wow. I got to take an honest look at myself and say, what's some areas that I want to work on with some areas I want to get better in.
Yeah. We all need that.
Yes.
We all need to get better somewhere
yeah.
within our lives, So that's a great perspective. And the way you pretty much make an analogy out of it or similarity to the iPhone, right? It's true. The newest feature, the camera maybe?
Yeah. I don't know.
Everything is we text the same. We use Facebook and Instagram the same way. Mm-hmm. Everything's the same, and it's just but also, cell phones are obsolete. The next year there's a new one, and the attention span of everybody nowadays is real short, so we need the newest thing. We get distracted too easily, but again, like you were saying, the things that we need to work on or the things that we need to be purchasing is within ourselves.
Investing in yourself.
Investing, yes.
Yeah. And sometimes that looks like, sometimes people say, well, I invest in myself. I got eyelashes, I got this Louis Vuitton bag, I got this, I got that, but like your intellectual property. How are you investing into that?
Yes.
Do you have a coach? Do you have, and sometimes I used to say, well, what do you need a coach for? Well, Serena has a coach. She's a great tennis player.
Say it again?
Serena Williams.
I'm listening to Serena Williams. Okay,
Serena Williams has a coach.
Yeah.
Why does she have a coach? Because her coach is going to see some things that she may not be able to probably see. So
from the outside looking in.
From the outside.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So who is guiding you? So we may say, well, I didn't grow up with this, and I didn't have this person. They're available. Find them.
Yeah.
You'll attract them.
Yeah.
We can change. People say, well, people don't really change. Look in the mirror. Just look in the mirror. We're always changing.
Right.
Every day. We're always
physically
changing.
and mentally.
Physically and mentally. So what are you going to consciously, what efforts are you going to consciously put into yourself?
Right.
That's going to help you even evolve even more.
Yeah. And if you have a belief in the higher power, that's your coach.
That's right.
That's your coach right there. You should be looking up and saying, help me get better.
And the beautiful thing even with that, like you'll say, help me, I need to get better. And then he'll bring something into your life to help you. And you may be blind to thinking that ain't it.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for this other thing to show up.
Yeah.
And it's all necessary. Yeah. We're human beings having this soul experience.
Yeah. It's a journey.
Yeah.
It is going to end one day.
And
you're going to take that last breath.
You're going to take that last breath.
Yes. All right, the last book here that you have, that chapter,
yes.
What brought you to write that chapter? Is it where you're at in your life right now? Is it something that did you have it in mind, the sequence of the last three that you had, or just something that just came about?
No, it's something that came about. Listen, you talk about a higher power, or God, listen, this thing, the sequence of everything was just ordained. It was ordained because my mother's chapter was healing within.
Wow. Healing within?
Healing
within. Okay.
Yes. So all of this internal work started with my mother, and then I come along, and these chapters just came. This came to me. Nothing I've been thinking about or anything. Yeah. It was just like, oh, this is it. I'm like, oh, this is it. And so it just came to me, and there was a sequence of everything was in relationship to the healing within.
Wow. Have you ever thought of putting your mom's chapter
together? Absolutely.
And put it in one of these series?
We're going to, yes.
The next one should be that.
So what we're going to do is, and now I'm sharing a little secret. So it's going to be my mother's chapter and my chapters, and then I'm bringing in one other family member.
To write a book or to put it a part of this?
So we're going to make it part of, not just destined to win, the legacy continues.
That's going to be dope.
Yes.
Look forward to that.
And we're going to get it translated into Spanish.
Tap the Spanish market with it. Wow. I'll be reading it because I read Spanish too.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we got a segment on Major Key Podcast that we call the Key to Success. As I hand you the key, Lisa Thomas L., I want to know what has been the key to success for you.
Okay. The key to success, for everybody, success means something different. Sometimes success means your bank account. Sometimes success means your family, whatever that is. But the key to success for me has been, how am I impacting and touching the world? And for that to happen, for me to impact or touch the world, then I first have to do it for myself. So as I grow, as I'm constantly growing, as I'm constantly reevaluating myself, and I'm constantly looking for ways to improve who I am and how I show up, then the way I show up in other people's lives, these things like this happen. Like this was no coincidence. This was something that was divinely guided. We just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and this has come about. So my key to success is you show up in your authentic self. People will say who they think you are and who they think you should be. But the greatest key to success is finding who you truly are within yourself.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Major Key Podcast, Season 3, Episode 13 with Lisa Thomas L. You see that number up there, 731? Right there on the computer.
Yes.
Right there. That's my favorite number. 317 is my favorite number.
Okay.
That number always pops up when
Wow.
something magical, something divine is happening. And you can see, you're a testament to it.
Yes.
I was born on 317 too. That number is everything to me. Yes.
I am 307.
Oh, wow. Listen, somebody's looking out. Somebody's looking out.
Wow.
Wow, this is Major Key Podcast, Season 3, Episode 13, here with Lisa Thomas L. This has been a pleasure. This has been a great episode.
Yes.
And to have you here, you know, it's an honor. It's a pleasure. I want to say continue success.
Yes.
Continue on with your books and continue on
right.
doing everything that you're doing for the community. You know, being a therapist, you know, the people, they need you. And continue on with the Great Gratitude Friday!
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
This has been a pleasure, and I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming through.
Thank you. This was such an honor and such a privilege. You know, I'm looking forward to. We're going to be doing even more in the community. A friend of mine is going to be doing a transitional home, a safe haven home for children between the ages of 11 and 17. So we're going to be sharing the wealth, sharing the love, sharing the connections. You know, because our children, you know, they need us to be a beacon of light.
Yes.
In their lives.
If you need anything, if you need me for anything, at any of your functions, I do live broadcasts too. You know, as a matter of fact, with the brother Hani, where we met, we're gonna do a live broadcast when we do the turkey drive, the turkey giveaway thing. You know, we were talking about it. So, awesome. Or maybe we could do one doing around the time of holidays and stuff, going towards the new year. But we're gonna get it done. We're gonna get it done. So if you need me for any of those functions, or you need me at all, I'm here. You know where to find me now, and much appreciated. Before we go, you gotta sign that book though.
Oh yeah.
She came through bearing gifts. And I want to get this on camera. This is going to be, you know, part of the history here on Major Key Podcast.
Here it is.
Yes.
That's right.
I appreciate it. Thanks for everybody that watched on Facebook, or everybody that's watching on YouTube right now. Much appreciated. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe right at the bottom. Hit the notification bell, you know, to get acclimated with all the episodes that are coming up, all the updated episodes, you know. And everybody that listening on topclassradio.com and the Top Class Radio app, much appreciated. Salute. We appreciate every single body that supports us and continues coming back to listen to us and watch us every single time. Once again, Season 3, Episode 13 with Lisa Thomas L.
Yes.
Official. Salute.
I told you, man, we took flight, ain't no coming down.
Yeah.
Let's get money. Yeah.